From the deck of the good ship Lollipop, it's the IGN Digigods. Please welcome two of Shirley Temple's backup dancers, Wade Major and Mark Kaiser.
Hey, a Shirley Temple reference. Corey, who goes deep?
That was brought to you by the inimitable Garv.
Wow, just one name? Really? Come on.
William T. Garv Garver Garvopolis Garvovalaciousness.
It's cool how I pretend to be having a conversation with Corey.
It's even cooler how you admit it.
Yeah, it is.
Now, do you admit it because you know it didn't work, so you might as well just fess up to it and seem cool in the process?
Because it's a transparent show.
I understand.
It's purely a transparent show.
Oh, Wade.
Yes.
So we have some big Blu-rays, Wade. We have one of the big Blu-rays, Wade.
We got some
Frankly,
yeah.
We have a Blu-ray series that they should have come out with like last year, when Blu-ray was like, maybe teetering a little bit. Like, is it gonna take off? Is it not?
Right.
And they finally released it.
Yes.
Now that everyone's talking about VOD, electronic sell-through, iTunes Store, Netflix, nobody cares about Blu-rays anymore.
Yep.
But yet now they finally come out with
the movie that we almost watched instead of doing this podcast, the complete adventures of Indiana Jones.
Now, the first thing we have to say about this, before we say just buy it already, what's taking you so long, is that we didn't like the packaging.
In point of fact, we hate the packaging. Now, we love the transfer. We love it looks great, sounds great. They really did a number on this. Good luck to all of you who run up to your LCD screen with a magnifying glass trying to find any kind of artifacting or edge enhancement. You're not going to find it. It's just, this is like this is as good as it gets from Paramount Blu-ray. And frankly, Lucasfilm Blu-ray as well. I mean, it's a joint effort. But here's what I really hate. I'm fine with regular Blu-ray keep cases. I'm even intermittently okay with Digipack. Digipack, it's plastic, it cracks, but and sometimes it breaks. But I'm okay with it. At least it protects the disc. What I'm not okay with are these like paper sleeves that they do in a booklet form. Where, oh, look, it's a book. Oh, isn't that clever? They made it like an old book. It's Indiana Jones. And then you open it, and each page is a little sleeve with the disc sitting loose in it. I hate that.
Well, no, the issue is that the disc isn't sitting loose in it. The disc is sitting tight in it.
Yeah,
the problem is that in order to extract the disc from the sleeve, because it's so tightly in there, you've got to take your fingers, your two fingers, your thumb and your
or
index
surgical
finger,
tongs.
Or surgical tongs.
Yeah.
And you've got to pull it out.
Yeah.
It's not that much wear and tear on the disc, but you still got to force it out of that sleeve, and also your forefinger, your index finger, is getting its fingerprints on the disc.
Yes,
and that's not good. So when I opened this up and I said, "Gosh darn it, it's one of those book thingies that I hate," I took my eyeglass cleaner cloth, and I used that to extract the disc from the case.
Yeah, indeed,
I did not like that.
It was it was an annoyance. But anyway.
Everything else is great. They look great. They sound fantastic. I mean, every little boom.
Let me start off by saying, you're getting this basically for Raiders of the Lost Ark. Some of us actually are fond of Temple of Doom. I was an usher at the Man's National in Westwood when Temple of Doom opened. I saw it 4 times at private screenings before we even officially opened it, and then I basically saw that movie probably 197 times.
I'm a fan of Last Crusade.
Don't like Last Crusade.
Really?
No,
Sean
not
Connery?
really.
Come on,
really.
funny.
Not so much.
How dare you?
Not so much. And I think we all know how we feel about Crystal Skull, which is just an abortion and an embarrassment. So really, that Crystal Skull disc is not going to be getting a lot of work out as far as coming out of this case. But everything
the only thing about Crystal Skull I like... Well, you know what? It's really not fair. All 4 discs have amazing audio. And they're all lossless.
True.
They're all 5.1. They're fantastic. The only reason why the Crystal Skull audio is a little bit better is just because
it's digitally recorded.
It's digitally recorded. It's from 2008, so it's the best of a great lot.
Lots and lots and lots of on-set and behind-the-scenes stuff here, interviews, featurettes,
on a special
tons and tons and tons.
On a 5th disc.
Yes, on a 5th.
The actual disc, the actual movies themselves.
Yes.
The discs just have the movies and some theatrical trailers.
That's it.
So to get all the bonus stuff, there's a 5th disc.
Correct.
That is great.
Yep, but it's loaded with stuff. I mean, look, it is a cornucopia of Indiana Jones thrills and chills and all kinds of wonderful stuff. And, look, I still like, I really do have a lot of fun with Temple of Doom because it's basically Gunga Din. Nobody realizes that. It's a total throwback to Gunga Din.
No.
Monkey brains.
No. Here's the thing.
Monkey brains.
Whenever everybody hates something, you try to like it. I love Star Trek V. It's the best of the movies. What are you, out of your mind? I love Temple of Doom. It's the best of the Indiana Jones films.
Well, it's not the best, but I do enjoy it. It's cheesy and it's campy and it's corny.
You know
I
what?
enjoy that.
And as we were watching the
Monkey brains,
as we were watching the Blu-ray of Raiders, we noted this that these days, I really wonder if you put a 15-year-old in front of Raiders of the Lost Ark, what would they think? Because
think they would look like old and boring to them.
It might. It's not
in the age of Transformers.
In the age of Transformers, what Raiders of the Lost Ark has, it has a lot of charm, which like Battleship, not a charming film.
No.
You know what I mean? Avengers, maybe a little bit, mostly because of Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of charm there. But these films, they're all very quick cut. They don't build. They they go 0 to 60 from second one.
Yeah.
And that's it. Raiders, an all-time classic,
Yep.
doesn't do that.
Yeah.
We were actually counting edits in some of these scenes. And there's very few edits in some of these scenes. And then when there needs to be edits, like the boulder rolling, at the beginning, then there are edits. It builds to something.
Yeah.
You don't really get that nowadays. These kids today.
Michael Kahn, one man, edited the whole movie. Sure, he had some assistants, but today it's like, oh yeah, we got to make our release date in 4 weeks. We've got 87 editors working overtime. It's ridiculous.
Wait, hang on for a second. Wait.
Yes.
Should we talk about Titanic on Blu-ray, or should I give you this week's cookie?
Oh, go ahead and give me this week's cookie.
Now, you don't know.
We have a Vox box this week too, as well.
We
do. We have a Vox box this week, so we'll get to that later. We got a lot of stuff to try and get through. I don't know if we'll get through it all. Classic movies, recent movies, middle between movies.
Now, you don't know what this week's cookie is.
More television. It's unbelievable. The beginning of the television season is just an onslaught. Release all the seasons from the previous seasons get released on DVD and Blu-ray, and it's relentless.
Actually, the thing on top, I'm very curious about.
I am too. It's a big deal.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So you talk about now. Titanic's already out on Blu-ray.
Yes, it is.
So why is that on Blu-ray again? Is it because it's out on Blu-ray 3D?
Yes, that would be correct.
Now, do we need this on Blu-ray 3D?
No, you don't need it on Blu-ray.
Frankly, now, this thing has four.
We could burn the negative, and the world would be a much happier place.
There's 4 discs on this thing.
Yep.
There is a Blu-ray 3D.
Mm-hmm.
Now the Blu-ray 3D is on 2 discs. That's how much information is packed into the Blu-ray 3D. They actually have to put it across 2 discs. There is the regular Blu-ray features with the Blu-ray film with the special features on the same disc, and then on disc 4 there are some Blu-ray features. And I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it is a great transfer, I have to say. I do think it's a great transfer. I think it looks really sharp, really crisp. There's a lot of detail, very rich colors. I really do think it looks great. Some of the long shots of the ship as it's starting to sink look a little bit like, this was shot in a tank. It has that kind of feel to it, which might be more testament to the lighting than anything else. But still, I have to say that it looks beautiful. It's a beautiful transfer. Now, the special features are also great. Now, you have to kind of decide if you want to save your previous Blu-ray. But I don't know, man. If you don't own Titanic and you want it on Blu-ray, I would go for this one.
A lot of stuff, but not anything that's really earth-shattering as far as the extras are concerned. There is a deleted scenes segment with James Cameron commentary. I have to say, there is so much deleted material in this movie, and none of it is really all that impressive. A lot of it, almost all of it, I actually previously saw because a good friend of ours who was a film school colleague of mine at one point years ago produced an interactive Titanic historical disc for Fox Interactive, which used all of this additional material in the interactive disc. So it's not like it hasn't been out there in various forms and available for people to see over and over and over and over again. And honestly, I'm not a fan of the movie, so less is more where this is concerned.
That is true, but on disc 1, just to remind people, on disc 1 of the 3D feature, there are a couple of special features, but they're all from the 2005 release. There's a James Cameron audio commentary, there's a cast and crew audio commentary, and there's a commentary with 2 historians. But they're all older. They're all from 2005.
Very true.
It's disc 4 that has all the new stuff, and some of the new stuff is very short. Some of it's like less than a minute. Actually, a lot of it's less than a minute. But all of it, it highlights another, like the way they did like another particular shot. A ship exterior or like the engine room shot or whatever.
Yeah.
So anyway, I would say that if you don't own Titanic on Blu-ray, you should go get this one. If you do, then you don't really have to upgrade unless you really want all the extras because you love the movie so much.
Brilliant.
Wait a second. What? You talk. I'm going to get you your cookie.
Okay, fine.
Which you don't know what it is. Because I don't tell you what it is before I bring it out.
All right. Well, while you're getting the cookie, I will roll through some other stuff. We did a giveaway some time back for 3 titles that they actually gave to our listeners, but they never sent them to us. So they finally sent us this this trio. Disney did, and it is the Sister Act films 1 and 2, Newsies, and Evita, all of them on Blu-ray. So we finally get to make a comment on this. The anniversary edition of Evita, Mark talks about movies that nobody else likes that I seem to like in a contrarian way. This is one of them. Evita was actually my favorite film of the year when it was released. I still think it's great. I am a huge Alan Parker fan, unapologetically. Not a fan of Madonna as an actress, but I'll be really fair. She nailed it on this. I thought she knocked it out of the park and deserved all the accolades that she got. This is a terrific film. Alan Parker has always been great with musicals. How is it on Blu-ray? It's fine. Disney just kind of spat these out, not with a great deal of effort, and they're kind of treated in that catalog fashion. So it's. I'm hoping that a better edition of Evita will show up at some point. It's better obviously than the DVD, but not by a grand margin. Sister Act, what can I say? This is the 20th anniversary edition of the first film and then the second film that never needed to exist. This is a Blu-ray DVD combo
it's also
pack.
a Broadway show. There's a Sister Act Broadway show.
I know, which I haven't seen and don't have any interest in seeing. And same thing here. Sister Act is a cute film. I think it dates very poorly. Sister Act 2 is just an absolutely pointless sequel, but there's no other way they're going to get any money out of it unless they package it on the Blu-ray. No one's going to buy it separately, you know what I'm saying? And then Newsies, which was maligned at the time. You know what? Kenny Ortega went on to direct such classics as High School Musical. And I have to say, I really actually enjoy Newsies. I really do. I admit it. Christian Bale, before he was Batman, when he was kind of in that in-between phase, trying to outgrow Empire of the Sun and yet become an adult actor. He was kind of a teen actor for a moment, and nobody cared. That's what he did in Newsies. And you know what? I like it. The whole thing about Newsies is fun, and people rip on this movie really unfairly. I think it is not cool. Alan Menken's music, which this is, he was doing all the animated Disney stuff at the time, and jumped into this one little live action bit here, and it's terrific. A lot of fun. So I thoroughly enjoy that. Jack Feldman, not such a great lyricist, but that's okay. Menken's music holds it up. The choreography, very Kenny Ortega, very stiff, but that's fine. The setting is great. It takes place, during the great era of the Newsies when you had people like Pulitzer and all these big newspaper barons, and everything's kind of, dusty and turn-of-the-century feeling. It's terrific. I really enjoyed it. So it's not a great Blu-ray like the others. It feels kind of, the monkey, the transfer monkey just kind of threw the switch, but it's okay. It's okay. It's worth having on Blu-ray. And then we also have a trilogy of I keep saying trilogy. A trio of sensational movies from the Paramount catalog. While Paramount this week was occupied with releasing films like Titanic 3D and Indiana Jones, they allowed some of their better catalog titles to be released by the wonderful Olive Films. And Olive keeps getting great stuff. Let me tell you what we got here, Mark. You ready for this?
No.
Listen to this. All of these are all Blu-rays, and they also come out they also are available on DVD, but these are Blu-rays, Olive Films from the Paramount Library. They come with sleeves, little cardboard sleeves, very sophisticated, nice artwork, beautifully done. We have Orson Welles' Macbeth. Come on, give it up for Orson Welles' Macbeth. You ever seen Welles' Macbeth?
Yes, many years ago.
It's brilliant.
Yes.
It's just genius. This, along with Roman Polanski's Macbeth, they're like the definitive Macbeths. They're great.
How about Bobcat Goldthwait's Macbeth?
You know what? Not bad. It's probably third.
Interesting.
This is a sensational film. Not obviously the entire play. It's truncated in very smart ways, but beautifully shot. John L. Russell, who would later do Psycho, is just an extraordinary cinematographer. This is just a fabulous Shakespearean adaptation. Really, really good. And one of the best films that Orson Welles ever made, for sure. And then we also have a couple of Oscar-winning Best Actor performances here. One is Jose Ferrer in Cyrano de Bergerac, which, I got to be honest, the French-language Cyrano with Gerard Depardieu is a far better film, far more faithful, unbelievable movie, really epic, really sprawling. But nonetheless, this 1950 production in English is not bad, and Jose Ferrer is quite good in it. It dates a little bit, but it's still enjoyable, and it's kind of a decent adaptation, screenplay adaptation by Carl Foreman from the play. And then my favorite of this lot is A Double Life with Ronald Colman, which won him a Best Actor. And my father always loved Ronald Colman. He was my father's favorite actor from that era. And it's something I never really understood until I got a lot older, and you realize what an amazingly nuanced, smart actor Ronald Colman was. Not a huge movie star per se, not somebody that really packed him in at the era during the era, like Clark Gable and a lot of the other big stars, Humphrey Bogart. But this is from 1947, and you realize Ronald Colman was like an actor ahead of his time. He really was. He was he was like a modern day actor. There is nuance, and there's an awareness of the camera and the smallness, the minutia of his performances. Really an extraordinary actor, and somebody that if you're interested in acting, you want to watch Ronald Colman, especially in A Double Life. Really just an outstanding film, and directed by George Cukor. Worth pointing out, almost 2 decades before he directed My Fair Lady and finally won himself an Oscar. So A Double Life, really a great film. One of those just, and by the way, co-written by Ruth Gordon.
Really?
Ruth Gordon and Garson Kanin.
The Ruth Gordon.
From
Harold and Maude.
From Harold and Maude, when she was a dazzling screenwriter before she became a crazy old lady.
Yeah, we like her more as a crazy old lady.
We do, but she was once an amazing screenwriter.
Wait, here you go. That's what I have for you today. Tell the people what it is.
It looks like, they look like, what is it? Something. There's a German name for this. It's like something Kuchel.
No, it's biscotti.
Biscotti? Oh, is that what it is? It's
yes.
Biscotti. Okay, never mind.
Hang on, stop. Don't eat that yet.
There's 2 pieces of biscotti. One of them is dipped in something creamy looking. The other one's dipped in chocolate.
It is pistachio, dried cranberries, and white chocolate biscotti. One is dipped in white chocolate, more white chocolate, and the other is dipped in regular chocolate.
How do I eat these? Do I eat the non-dipped
half
first?
Have you never eaten a biscotti before?
I'm not really a fan of biscotti.
God.
But for the sake of this podcast and for your integrity as a chef, why not?
Yeah. I brought this biscotti to. You're not supposed. Oh my God!
What am I doing?
You're out of your mind.
No. Are you wrong?
There's no wrong, right or wrong way. But most people, most people take it in their hand in the undipped side, so that they can eat the dip side first. You put it in your undip. Forget it. By the way, I brought this biscotti to...
saving the best for last.
Good spin. By the way, I brought this biscotti to my local watering hole, which is like 500 feet from where I live. I said, hey, sometimes I bring them stuff I bake, and I get free drinks. It's a great bargain. And they went nuts over this biscotti. Now... some of them went nuts over it because biscotti is really made to be dipped in coffee. Like you have your coffee and your biscotti, which I don't drink coffee and neither do you. So you have to enjoy it as biscotti. So biscotti, it's a biscuit. It's a little drier than a cookie. But that you look like you're not even remotely enjoying that.
It requires a great deal of chewing.
Well, a biscotti is drier. It is not as moist as a cookie.
I like moist cookies.
Do you not want to eat? You don't have to eat that one.
No, I'm going to eat it.
You're just not going to like it? All right, fine.
I'm going to eat it. You're damn right I'm going to eat it.
Well, I'd rather have you eat it because you like it. Not
ahead,
you did
talk,
not
talk
eat
about
it.
football. It's football season, by the way.
Are you ready for some football? I'm not. All right, we have 2...
UCLA 3-0. Yeah, Bruins.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
We have 2 football DVDs, not Blu-rays. Come on, NFL Films, get it together. Why are these on DVD? You know why these are probably on DVD? Because football, a very working class kind of a game, and they probably figure that the average football fan does not own a Blu-ray player.
Although they do own big screen TVs.
Yeah, they do, which is just bizarre. which they use to watch football. Anyway, San Francisco 49ers, Team of the 80s, is one of the DVDs on offer. Now, the 49ers, they won 4 Super Bowls in the 80s, including 1990, which is considered the 80s. They won in, I think it was 82, 85, 89, and 90. And that was the Joe Walsh era. And they were amazing. The West Coast offense, it was a total dynasty. They were fantastic. And this NFL Films DVD is all about their run in the 90s. There's bonus content in here, including 2 full games. One, Super Bowl 16, and the other, the 1981 NFC Championship game, which was also great. So that's the San Francisco 49ers team of the 80s. Next, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers behind the steel curtain. Now, for those who don't know, in the 70s, during the Terry Bradshaw era, the Steelers, they were it. Working class town, steel town.
It was unbelievable. The Steelers were just the thing.
They were the thing, and they were great. They had an amazing defense. They had Terry Bradshaw as quarterback. I mean, Chuck Noll was amazing. Remember Mean Joe Green? Mean Joe Green, fantastic.
He was on every commercial.
Yes, he was. And this is a DVD that is all about the steel curtain teams of the 70s. Bonus content includes the AFC Championship game from 74 and the Immaculate Reception game from 1972. So those are 2 football DVDs. The second one, the Pittsburgh Steelers Behind the Steel Curtain. Check them all out if you're a football fan. If not, then keep watching baseball like I am.
Totally. All right. A few more other classic movies to roll through real quickly. One other one from the Paramount Library. Boy, that is dry, isn't it?
Yes, it's supposed to be dry.
That's Skibisky or whatever it's called.
It's a bit. Do you not know what? No, let me try that again. Do you not know what a biscotti is?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Have you never eaten a biscotti?
I think I had it once or twice.
You got to be kidding.
It was too dry. But these are pretty good.
Well, that's a biscotti.
Yeah.
What you just had is a biscotti.
All right, it's good. Yeah, that's fine.
I see. I'm willing to accept the fact that you just don't like biscotti.
Yeah, that's
more
fine.
than I can accept the fact that you don't like what I made.
Sure.
Whatever gets you through the night?
Whatever we get to. From 1961, a fascinating film that probably falls under a lot of people's radar. Worth checking out, though, because Jeffrey Hunter, Captain Christopher Pike, is in it, along with the wonderful and spectacular Stella Stevens. And this was and David Jansen, of course. This was actually Edmund O'Brien directed this, former actor Edmund O'Brien. This was his second effort as a director. And last. And it's basically a heist film. It's called Man Trap, MAN-TRAP.
Ooh, Man Trap. You Star Trek fans.
See, there's another Star Trek reference there.
You know it.
That's right, the Man Trap. With the, the creature. Ah! That's the sound that Kirk makes when it puts its little suctiony hands on his face.
So lame.
Ah! I'll never forget that. I remember watching that as a kid and thinking, it's kind of creepy, but that's a bad scream. Anyway, it's a heist film, it doesn't really do anything that you haven't seen in other heist films, but Stella Stevens is just really, really good in this. She is hysterical. She's the wife from hell, and you got to see it just for Stella Stevens. Really, there's no other reason to see it. Beautifully shot, nice black and white, good Blu-ray. And then we got a bunch of great films from the Warner Archive collection. One is The Wrath of God, starring Robert Mitchum and Rita Hayworth and Frank Langella and John Colicos and Victor Buono. What kind of cast is that? Seriously, Robert Mitchum, along with Rita Hayworth and Frank Langella, who's like 10 years old at the time, John Colicos, who, of course, we all know as Baltar from Battlestar Galactica, and Victor Buono, who, of course, is King Tut from Batman. What a bizarre movie this is.
By the way, did you get my email a couple of days ago? You did not respond to it.
Which email?
About the Google Kevin Bacon game?
Yeah, whatever.
Oh, come on. All right. No, you know what it is? If you all don't know. Google now has a 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon game. Mm-hmm. What you do is you type in... Actually, you know what? Keep talking. I'll tell you what to type in. I have to look it up.
Anyway, this is 1972. Obviously, the beginning of Frank Langella's career, the end of Rita Hayworth's career, and kind of, closer to the end than the beginning for Robert Mitchum, although not.
Oh, stop. Okay, who cares?
Yeah.
Okay, so go to Google. You type in Bacon number, right?
Yeah.
Just Bacon number, and then any actor you can think of. And the whole idea is to obviously try to stump it so that it's like 6 degrees, 8 degrees, 20 degrees. Like I played with this thing. I typed in bacon number Clara Bow.
Yeah.
One of the original Silent Stars, one of the original Screen Sweethearts, and it was the bacon number was like 2.
Right.
But I typed in bacon number Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
And the number was 4. So give me Ronald Coleman.
Sure.
Let's see what the bacon number is.
I'll bet you it's 2.
Now, this is, by the way, this is...
I'll bet you Ronald Coleman acted in a movie with somebody who was young who wound up getting old and acted with Kevin Bacon. I bet you it's 2.
The Ronald Coleman bacon number. Now, this is how it works. I mean, it's like it's part of Google now. It's like it is a thing.
That's fabulous.
Ronald Coleman's bacon number is 3.
Our show's almost halfway done, you know.
So what? Ronald Coleman and Shelley Winters appeared in A Double Life. Shelley Winters and Chris Penn appeared in The Pickle. Chris Penn and Kevin Bacon appeared in Footloose. So Ronald Coleman's bacon number is 3.
That's the way they connect it? Wow. That's
Look,
I bet I could do
But the
better.
thing is that this is actually part of Google's functionality.
Yeah.
Look at that.
I know.
It's the greatest thing ever. Bacon number and then any actor.
Okay. May I finish?
Give me one more actor.
Okay.
One more. Hang on. No, you talk. I'll find an actor and I'll.
Okay. So Robert Mitchum, Wrath of God. Basically, it's a period film. Takes place South America. Robert Mitchum.
Here's a good one.
He's a priest with a switchblade in his crucifix on a mission.
Oh God! Eric Idle. His bacon number is only 2. I was brilliant. Eric Idle and John Cleese appeared in Life of Brian. John Cleese and Kevin Bacon appeared in The Big Picture.
There you go.
Damn.
May I give you another one?
Go.
Buster Keaton.
You know what? I did Buster Keaton.
Yeah.
It was because Buster. When Buster Keaton was older, he did a couple cameos in films of the 50s or 60s.
Funicello.
No, his bacon number is 2. This is how they break it down.
Really?
Buster Keaton and Patty McCormick appeared in The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Patty McCormick and Kevin Bacon appeared in Frost Nixon.
Oh, that's interesting. Boy, they really.
I love the bacon number. The best. The only thing I love more than the bacon number.
Wow.
The only thing I love more than the bacon number is actual bacon.
Yeah, that may be. And then we've got a very bizarre film from 1969, directed by Don Taylor. This is called The Five-Man Army. That is with a number 5. You ever heard of this with Peter Graves?
Oh, Peter Graves, bacon number Peter. Everybody you mentioned.
Here we go.
Peter Graves.
This is
2.
Yeah,
Peter Graves and Betsy Palmer appeared in The Long Gray Line. Betsy Palmer and Kevin Bacon appeared in Friday the 13th.
This is kind of like a low-level kind of Dirty Dozen / Magnificent Seven with Peter Graves and set during the Mexican Revolution, and it's whatever. It's very shall we say second-tier spaghetti western. And the only reason that this is...
So it's more like a ramen western.
Yeah, kind of like a ramen western. The only thing that makes this even remotely interesting is the fact that the screenplay was co-written by Dario Argento, for those of you that care.
Which means it's lame, in my book.
And then lastly, we got 2 sensational, unbelievably awesome archive releases here. Volumes 4 and 5 of Forbidden Hollywood. We have talked about the previous volumes here. And this is all pre-code stuff. Really cool pre-code classics from the Warner Brothers library before everybody started, giving you a guilt trip about the themes and the characters that you had in your movies and whether it was appropriate or not. And pre-code films are just an absolute blast. Volume 4 includes the films Jewel Robbery, Lawyer Man, Man Wanted, and They Call It Sin.
Name one person in one of those movies. Name one.
How about Dick Powell?
Dick Powell.
Or, I'm sorry, not Dick Powell. William Powell.
Well, let's see.
Who's actually in 2 of them.
William Powell.
William
Powell's bacon number is 2.
No kidding.
William
really?
Powell and Betsy Palmer, who we mentioned before, appeared in Mr. Roberts.
There you go.
Betsy Palmer and Kevin Bacon appeared in Friday the 13th. Now, Dick Powell.
Ah, yeah, Dick Powell.
Dick Powell's bacon number is 3.
Uh-huh.
Dick Powell and Gloria Stewart appeared in Gold Diggers of 1935. Gloria Stewart and Bill Paxton appeared in Titanic.
Nice.
Bill Paxton and Kevin Bacon appeared in Apollo 13.
In 150 years, this is going to be very hard to do.
It's 150. Look, it's 150 years now.
I know.
Buster Keaton and Kevin Bacon.
Volume 5 of Forbidden Hollywood includes the films Hard to Handle, Ladies They Talk About, The Mind Reader, and Miss Pinkerton. And so while we're at it, why not look at Barbara Stanwyck? See where she falls into this.
See, now all of a sudden you're into the bacon number.
You know what? No,
you try to be too cool to school, and too cool for school.
Miss Pinkerton. Miss Pinkerton stars Joan Blondell. That's an interesting one. Let's see where Joan Blondell falls in this. Try it. Come on, try it. Do it.
Help if I spell Blondell right.
Well, while you're looking for this, I'm just going to say Barbara Stanwyck in Ladies They Talk About is probably my favorite of any of these. James Cagney is also in Hard to Handle, which is a minor Cagney. But Barbara Stanwyck, there was never anybody greater in pre-code films for just all of the nuance and the innuendo.
Ooh,
and
two!
Hey,
Joan
Blondell.
Blondell and Robert Wagner appeared in Death at Love House. Robert Wagner and Kevin Bacon appeared in Wild Things.
There you go. Why he's doing Wild Things? That's
see,
weird.
Here's the thing. See, during the studio system, when actors and directors and writers would just do whatever the studio,
That's it.
actors were just assigned. They were signed by studios, and they would do 57 movies a year. Whatever the studio had them do that week, they had to do. So you've got like dozens and dozens and dozens of possibilities for Kevin Bacon connections.
Very true.
Because you're talking about some of these actors during the studio system. They worked with everybody.
Well, Ladies They Talk About, Barbara Stanwyck. That is the one of all the pre-code films that I think is really, really just an enormous amount of fun. So we're gonna hit some music now, and then get into some more recent films, some really big recent films that are out this week. But as far as music, Mark, I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I'm gonna tell you, I've got Katy Perry, Part of Me, the movie, on Blu-ray, DVD, and digital copy combo pack. And they brag about the fact that it got an A from CinemaScore and that it's certified fresh from Rotten Tomatoes right there, because they know that people are going to look at this and go, Katy Perry, ew. But CinemaScore, A, Rotten Tomatoes certified fresh, that's a way of just begging the person who sees this on the shelf to say, no, really, seriously, we're not kidding. You'll like the Katy Perry movie. You really will. Just give it a shot. They're begging you to take her seriously. And you know what? It's a good movie. Well, I'm amazed that I'm even saying that, because when I went into this thing, I'm like, Katy Perry 3D concert movie by the idiots who made the Justin Bieber movie? Really? Are you going to really inflict this like vomitous bubble gum and candy-colored craziness on me? And honestly, it's a terrific movie, and in large part because it's nakedly honest. During the course of the tour that this film captures, that's when her marriage to Russell Brand fell apart. And that part of the movie is so emotionally honest, and it's so devastating, watching her fall apart, watching her break into tears literally inches from going out on stage and just inconsolable, and then yet pull it together and get on the little elevator and go up on the stage and fake that smile and put on a show. You cannot help but be impressed by that stuff. So I applaud the filmmakers, who are all reality TV people in the first place, so they kind of know how to do this thing. But I applaud them for actually really making this film, honest and not just a puff piece. Katy Perry, Part of Me, the movie, and you don't need to see it in 3D, honestly. And this is not a 3D disc, so you're better off.
I just want to know whether CinemaScore has ever been used as a promotional tool to sell a movie.
Not to my knowledge. That may be the first time that anyone's put CinemaScore on the cover of a DVD or a Blu-ray.
That's bizarre.
And certified fresh.
I've never seen that either. And by the way, that's actually on the cover. That's not like, they wrap it in cellophane.
No, it's not on the back. It's not a sticker.
Put stickers on it.
No, it's printed. It's always going to be there. Yes.
Wade.
I'm going to finish this Scabooty now. What's this, Scooby Snack? Is that what this is?
The Scooby Snack. All right, let's do some music. Etta James. When my friend Pamela, my best friends in the whole wide world, Pamela got married. She got married a little later in life. Let's just say. And because she got married a little later in life, when she walked down the aisle, to Etta James's most famous hit, "At Last."
No kidding.
That is true. I was the maid of honor at her wedding.
You were the maid of honor?
Me and Zach both walked her down the aisle at her wedding. So technically, we gave her away.
Wow.
Zach and I both gave her away at her wedding.
Okay.
Anyway, Etta James is obviously an all-time class. She died in January, which is a big shame.
I know.
But her career goes all the way back to 1938. But here we have Etta James live at Montreux, another Blu-ray in the Montreux Music Festival series. This is from 1993. And all of her big hits are here. And this covers a whole bunch of Montreux that she had done, going all the way back to 1975. And it's great. A lot of her classic songs are here. And the Blu-ray is mostly on the 1993 performance, so that's where the video looks the best. But still, if you love her, you will definitely love Etta James live at Montreux 1993. David Bowie, The Calm Before the Storm, under review, 1969 to 1971, is a terrific DVD, not a Blu-ray. And this one documents Bowie's career from kind of the beginning he first started recording kind of like in the early, kind of mid-ish 60s, like 1964. But with Space Oddity in 1969, he really kind of started to hit the mainstream. So this DVD here, The Calm Before the Storm, charts him from 1969 to 1971. And there's a lot of great interviews from here, including a lot of the people he played with during that time, including his drummer, his guitarist, a couple early mentors, DJs. And so if you want to know what Bowie was like when he was just on the cusp, we're talking like Hunky Dory era, Man Who Sold the World, Space Oddity, then you should really check out The Calm Before the Storm, David Bowie. Live at Astoria, the Groundhogs. The Groundhogs, I believe my favorite band, and I have to say this is not my favorite DVD because it only really has like 10 songs on it, but this was shot in 1998. This is the first Groundhog show ever to be filmed, and they were promoting their album Hogs in Wolves Clothing. And, I did like Hogs in Wolves Clothing because it was kind of a tribute to Howlin' Wolf, who's like awesome. But these guys generally were not really my favorite. But the Groundhogs Live at Astoria has about 10 songs on it. And I doubt anybody will ever rent or buy that. Now, the big...
That is awesome, by the way. That is awesome what you have in your hand right now.
The big music DVD of the week is by far... This should be on Blu-ray, man.
I know it should. I was thinking the same thing.
I just don't know why they didn't put Queen Greatest Video Hits on Blu-ray.
Mastering would have been more expensive to remaster all that stuff because a lot of these are, they're not in high def. You would actually have to go back to some of these original. A lot of these elements were video too, so they'll never be high def. But still, it should have been just for the lossless audio. It should have been Blu-ray.
I mean, this is two discs now. Queen, they were one of the first, really, really cool video bands during the MTV era.
Totally.
And you've got, come on, man. I mean, Bohemian Rhapsody, Another One Bites the Dust, Bicycle Race, Crazy Little Thing Called Love, Somebody to Love. Oh, I love it. Flash Gordon, We Will Rock You. I love it. Radio Gaga. Awesome. Now, Radio Gaga, for those who don't know, I'm not quite sure I believe the story, but supposedly Lady Gaga got her name from the Queen song Radio Gaga. That is what I have heard.
I've heard that too.
Is that true? Don't know. Ultimately, Under Pressure, and there's a couple little kind of lamer ones later on. But generally, you've got at least 20 to 23 great old school videos of great songs. And I cannot recommend highly enough renting, or if you're a fan, buying Queen Greatest Video Hits. The video and audio quality, the audio quality is fine. The video quality is okay.
Yeah.
Because they're so old.
I'm going to blow through a few docs real quickly, and then we'll do the Vox Box and wrap things out. Yes.
I'm doing this.
You're doing those, and I'm doing these.
Well, what happened to all the new movies you want to talk about?
We're getting to them.
Okay.
There's a lot of important stuff. Look, friggin' Ghost of the Abyss in 3D. I mean, we got to give James Cameron the full 3D treatment this week because we got the Titanic 3D and we got Ghost of the Abyss 3D. And that's, of course, James Cameron's where he just can't leave the damn wreck alone, so he's got to go make a 3D movie about his exploring of the wreck. You know what? It's perfectly fine. I'm not as offended by this because it's not narrative, and Cameron really does the nonfiction thing, I think, a lot better than other people do. So he, but 3D, does it need to be 3D? I don't know. Some people really, really like the fact that it immerses you in the wreck and that there's a whole 3D aspect to it, but I don't know that it makes that much of a difference. This is a combo disc, Blu-ray 3D, Blu-ray and DVD, all of them in one set. And then we also have Paradise Lost 3 Purgatory by Joe Berlinger and Bruce Sinofsky. If you haven't followed this is the third in their trilogy of films about the West Memphis Three, who finally were in fact found innocent. And the extraordinary thing about this trilogy of films is that it's taken them like 20 years to actually put this trilogy of films together, and in point of fact, they basically are the ones who wound up getting innocent people freed from prison. And the story is amazing. If you have Paradise Lost 1 and 2, you got to get the third because it completes the story, and it's just one of the most extraordinary documentary achievements ever. Not a great documentary in terms of style, but in terms of what the documentary does in a very workmanlike fashion, that it's sort of like presenting a case. Really amazing. And my pick of the week as far as documentaries is concerned is The Art of Rap. You're never going to believe this because this is a movie directed by Ice-T. Ice-T's never made a movie before. And is this a really sophisticated documentary? No, not by a long shot. But you know what it is? It's incredibly honest and inside. He doesn't hit everybody in the rap world, obviously. There's still a little bit of bad blood with, some rappers, and he doesn't go, for example, to talk to, anyone that he has, shall we say, LL Cool J issues with. But, they were rivals as rappers, and now they're rival TV cops. It's the weirdest thing in the world. But anyway, Ice-T basically went and dug up all of his buddies, and that includes, all the Run DMC guys, and Salt and Peppa, and Eminem, and Dr. Dre, and on and on and on and on. And everybody shows up in this thing, and they all talk about what makes rap an art, and what their process is, and how they, what's meaningful to them and what isn't. And it's really an incredibly insightful film because he talks the talk. They're not. This isn't some very academic film about rap that just tries to sort of crawl inside it in a very esoteric, Upper East Side way. This is down and dirty. This is rappers talking to rappers about rap, and it is so illuminating, and it is such a good film. And I just can't say enough about it. It's a really, really sharp film. And the greatest thing about this, he doesn't turn the camera off when he's talking to people on the street, and like some goofballs walk up and try to get in on the camera. He leaves that in the movie. It's still there.
It's real, man.
It's real,
this
man.
This thing's for real.
He keeps it real. He keeps it real. So The Art of Rap is a terrific film. And then lastly, on Blu-ray, produced by George Martin. You know what? If you don't know the name George Martin, you are just totally missing out. George Martin is like the great record producer of all time. And this is a terrific Blu-ray that just goes into everything that he did, who he was, where he came from, what this turned into him. And then, bam, he signs this strange, weird, unknown group of 4 kids called the Beatles, and everything just falls to pieces. That's where his career ended. Not even close. Really a terrific documentary about an amazing music figure who oftentimes is overshadowed by the people that he produced, but really a great Blu-ray, great just everything about it. Really just a lot of fun, nicely done, very sharp, good, solid British documentary filmmaking.
Speaking of British documentaries.
Yes.
We have a strange little number here called Holy Flying Circus. Now, for Monty Python fans, of which I am one. Now, in 1979, the Monty Python came out with a film called Life of Brian, which at the time a lot of people considered fairly blasphemous, even though it was hilarious. And the Python troupe in 1979 actually agreed to go on the talk show Friday night, Saturday morning, and debate. There was a debate between John Cleese and Michael Palin, members of Monty Python, and Malcolm Muggeridge and Mervyn Stockwood, who at the time was the Bishop of Southwark. And so there was a debate on...
It all sounds so English.
I know. It was a debate on Friday night, Saturday morning in 1979 between the members of Monty Python and a bishop. So this movie, Holy Flying Circus, is like a weird... just psycho-animated, crazy, surrealistic mashup of genres that chronicles this debate that really did take place. And I have to say that my only issue with it is that the actual debate itself would have been, I would imagine, way more interesting to see than Monty Python's crazy, Terry Jones, Terry Gilliam, crazy version of it. But in this little tiny, this little tiny piece of Python history, which a lot of people don't remember, it is kind of illuminating. It was written by Tony Roche, who wrote In the Loop, and In the Loop is a film that I absolutely love.
I know
is
you like it more than I do.
And hilarious, and I just love that movie so much. Well, the guy who directed that, Iannucci, whatever his name is, he's the one who does Veep.
Oh, yeah.
The Julia Louis-Dreyfus show on HBO.
Sure.
Anyway, so Holy Flying Circus is... it's a very interesting story told the Monty Python way, which means that it's crazy, although I kind of wish that they would have included the entire actual debate. Anyway, also on the documentary front, we have Comic-Con, Episode 4 of Fans Hope. Now, this one, this is a Morgan Spurlock film, and it is all about the San Diego Comic-Con culture.
It's kind of loosey-goosey, I think this is. It's a little bit of a puff piece to me.
It's a little bit of a puff piece, but, you know what? It's interesting. There's a couple things interesting about the film, which I think is generally a good film, although I don't disagree with Wade. Is that I like how they get into how this thing that the fans genuinely loved so much became co-opted by all these corporate interests. And, their love for these characters that were so genuine wound up being grist for the corporate mill.
I hear you.
And the film does get into that a little bit, but yes, there are no surprises. But you know what? I think if you're a casual fan, do you hear those dogs?
I do, and I'm trying to ignore it.
Okay.
It's really kind of psychotic.
This is a high-tech show.
I feel like it suddenly we're in some kind of a ghetto somewhere, like it's a junkyard. We're recording this from Memphis, out next to the dog park.
Actually, we record this in a house right next door to Fred Sanford's house.
My goodness, Sanford Arms.
Yeah, with the Sanford Arms.
I love Sanford Arms.
Anyway, all right. So Comic-Con Episode 4 fan sub, good stuff. The casual viewer would actually like it too. Golf's Grand Design, which is the history of American golf course architecture. Now, I'm not a golfer. I don't get golf. I will never get into golf.
Likewise.
I don't understand it.
No.
People they just absolutely will murder their family if they could just get another 10 feet out of their wedge.
Yeah.
And I just don't get it.
I don't either.
They're obsessed.
I know people who travel the world to just experience different golf courses.
Now, the golf courses themselves are gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. George Carlin has...
If I could just run around on them, that'd be great. But
they're
actually,
gorgeous.
I know.
Well, George Carlin has this hilarious bit about how there's so much homelessness in the world, yet somehow really, really rich people pay a lot of money to play on these beautifully manicured golf courses that are created for rich people by rich people. Mostly rich white people.
Yep.
And Carlin's got a whole run on that. That's really funny. Anyway, but I will say this, is that it is interesting, although I don't like golf. I find the design of golf courses to be kind of interesting because there's a lot of detail that goes in that you wouldn't think of. And so Golf's Grand Design is all about that. Wade's trying to hurry me along. I don't know what's going on in Burma right now, but it seems like it might be okay. They're releasing their political prisoners now, and Aung San Suu Kyi is finally out of prison, and she's leaving the country. She can travel. So there's good stuff happening. Do we trust it? Don't know, but if you want to look at how they got to this place, you might want to check out Burma, A Human Tragedy, which is a terrific documentary narrated by Angelica Houston. And it's the history of Burma and how the military junta took over and turned it into Myanmar, which I still refuse to call it Myanmar, whatever they'll call it. Myanmar.
It'll be Burma again very soon.
It'll be Burma again very soon. Anyway, for a history of the country, how it became such a tragic situation over there, and how it slowly turned itself around. Hopefully, check out Burma, A Human Tragedy. Wait,
awesome.
That was pretty fast.
That was fast.
Thank
you rocked
you.
it. You rocked it, Kaiser.
Is there anything we need to do?
Okay, Vox Box.
We have. Should I sing the song?
Do it.
It's Vox Box.
Hi Mark and Wade, this is Levy. My question is, do you ever feel a little voyeuristic? I recently attended a play and was struck by how confronting it is, and felt almost embarrassed about paying to see an actor be so emotionally raw and vulnerable right in front of my eyes. And yet, I've seen much more provoking films without even blinking an eye. So, are we film lovers merely voyeurs with a passion for art and talent? That's my question. Thank you, and as always, good job and best wishes.
I've got to say, Levi Trong, that is the coolest accent. We love Australian accents. We do.
We have a lot of fans on Australia.
Australian and Kiwi accents, I just think, are the greatest. They're just the greatest.
Can someone build a plane that gets me to Australia in less than 8 hours? Because I would go tomorrow.
I know.
It just seems like a heck of a haul.
It's exotic.
I would love to go.
Yeah, same here. We'll do that. We'll do a remote, right? We'll do a remote podcast from Australia.
But then we'd be upside down.
No.
Because it's on the other side of the world.
No.
Not upside down.
No.
You're right side up?
Yeah.
How does that work?
I don't know.
Okay.
In answer to Levy's question, you know what? It's interesting. That's one of those things that they sort of ramrod down your throat in film school and in critical studies classes about the voyeuristic aspect of film, and are you really just enjoying it, or is there something kind of about watching a movie or a play that is sort of tapping into that part of the psyche that's a little bit twisted? And I think there's probably something to that. I don't know that I am in a position to self-analyze to any great degree, but I do know that certain films, obviously, anytime you get a first-person film, you get things like, Peeping Tom, for example, which was one of the first films to really kind of do that. And then some of these first-person POV lost footage movies, that's the whole angle there, is to really exploit that aspect of your psyche. So I think there's definitely something to it.
Well, if you want to watch a film that takes great lengths to almost implicate the audience in terms of their willingness to see somebody hurt and to go along with the violence of the film, go see the original Funny Games.
Yeah, for sure.
Because in Funny Games, I mean, I'm not sure if she's seen it or not, but in Funny Games, one of the characters
it really invites
that, and that's part of Michael Haneke's point, that you are implicated in the enjoyment of seeing people be hurt.
And anytime you have direct address in a movie where a character like Alfie Singer in Annie Hall is addressing the audience, that also invites the audience into a different kind of into a participatory role. And frankly, for that matter, I think one of the better recent examples of that kind of cinema would be the Oogie Loves in the Great Balloon Adventure, because that invited children to dance in the aisles whenever prompted on screen in the movie. And I think that was enormously successful in doing that, wasn't it, Mark?
It also invited critics to write the most hilariously scathing reviews ever. But you know what? I think ultimately great art is voyeuristic. I mean, when you read a book,
for sure,
when you read a book that gets into the psyche of a serial killer or the psyche of two lovers, that is in a sense voyeuristic. Now the images you're creating in your head, but still they are inviting you to create those images. I think that in great paintings and great music, I think all that stuff invites you to maybe tap into visual images or thoughts that might be uncomfortable. You may feel voyeuristic, especially autobiographies.
Absolutely.
So I think that the best art really does force you to do that. And again, when it comes to films today, most films these days don't invite that kind of participation or immersion.
Totally down with it. I agree. So, Levy, thank you so much for your question. Please send us more questions. Anybody out there want to hit us up with an email or a Vox box, send it to gods@digigods.com. We beg for this stuff every week, gods@digigods.com. And we, of course, do have a little bit of a backlog on our Vox boxes, which we will be getting to. So if you have sent us any and we haven't read them yet, we haven't played them yet, by all means, we will be getting to them. We may even do two in a single week one of these weeks.
I don't know why we don't do that now.
Well, because we got so many titles to try and get through. We're going to hit a little bit of television right now, and most importantly, Steve Martin, the television stuff. This is a Shout Factory release, almost 7 whopping hours of Steve Martin. Can you handle that much Steve Martin, Mark?
I love this collection. By the way, this collection includes material that has never been seen
ever
since its initial airing.
Originally, yes, but it's never been released on VHS, not on DVD, not in any form, and a lot of it hasn't even been aired since its original airings. Here's what's included: you get stand-up specials, NBC specials, and a thing called Bits and Pieces here. And this is 3 discs of
mostly
material.
From the 70s, by the way.
Mostly from the 70s, actually, and the 80s. There's a good bit of stuff from the 80s. But the stand-up specials are on location with Steve Martin and Homage to Steve, which are amazing. The Homage to Steve, which includes The Absent-Minded Waiter and Steve Live at the Universal Amphitheater from 1979. That amphitheater stuff is great. The Universal Amphitheater, I mean, people don't realize what a great venue that was once upon a time. Really just sensational stuff there.
I want this. Give me this.
No, it's really good. It's
really
really good, and it's an interesting thing to release. I'm more interested in this from the standpoint of who came up with the idea to even do this. Because it's a very unconventional thing. There are a lot of rights clearances to do something like this. There's a lot of work and a lot of expense and a lot of effort involved in doing something that would appear to have some marginal marketability. I mean, a lot of people love Steve Martin, but do they love him 6.5, 7 hours worth?
They do. This includes like The Great Flydini, which is hilarious. And I remember when I used to collect comedy albums when I was a kid, I had Wild and Crazy Guy, which was hilarious. I had Comedy's Not Pretty. I had those albums, and this is just great stuff. I cannot recommend how. And the thing is that if you're a listener of more youthful vintage than Wade and I, you probably just know him from like the Pink Panther horrible movies and those cheaper by the dozen pieces of crap. Back in the day, Steve Martin was one of the top stand-ups in the country. He was.
Oh no, for sure.
It was sort of like Robin Williams. Like at the time, Robin Williams, hard to believe now, was one of the craziest, most hilarious and popular sellout amphitheater stand-up comics in the country. And Steve Martin was absolutely hilarious. He killed it on Carson. He killed it during his specials. And I do love him. I think it's great. So I cannot recommend highly enough, at least renting Steve Martin, the television stuff. 6 hours of stuff, folks. Come on. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
It's terrific stuff. Really, really good.
You're not going to let me have that, are you?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
Wish it was on Blu-ray.
We'll see.
Why can't it be on Blu-ray, Wade?
Okay, I'm going to roll real quickly through a lot of it, because these shows don't really warrant a whole lot of discussion, to be honest. Hawaii Five-0, the new Hawaii Five-0, second season on Blu-ray. The people are too pretty. The shows are not good enough. But you know what? It's really high production value, and you get a lot of extra features on here. It's beautiful Hawaiian scenery and chasing cops around with Scott Conn on the Hawaiian Islands. That's fine. Other shows that are coming back that are pushing themselves on DVD. The complete fourth season of The Mentalist, which returns on Mondays on TNT. This show is fine. It's perfectly okay. Simon Baker, who is also Australian, I should add, even though he doesn't speak like an Australian on the show. This has some featurette material on it, but, The Mentalist has a good following, and it's a decent show. Suburgatory, which is Wednesdays on ABC, is a great show. This is the complete first season. I love this show. Have I mentioned that I love this show?
Really?
I love Suburgatory.
You've never talked about this.
I know. It's a guilty pleasure. I'm coming out of the closet. I'm admitting it. I think this is the greatest show. It really is. Jane Levy is sensational. She's just absolutely awesome. She and Jeremy Sisto play a daughter and her single dad who moved from Manhattan out into the weirdest freaking suburbs imaginable. And Cheryl Hines and Carly Chaikin and Chris Parnell.
I think you're lying.
They're all just.
You're lying.
They're all the weird neighbors.
I don't believe
the
you.
weird neighbors. It's absolutely sensational.
Don't believe you.
It's a wonderful show. So well written. So clever.
Really?
I cannot recommend it enough. The first season, awesome. And then the second season of Blue Bloods, which gave Tom Selleck yet another television lease on life. This is a good show. Tom Selleck, heavy man. He's heavy. Heavyweight dude, and it's all about. It's funny. He's Police Commissioner Reagan. I mean, it plays up his whole kind of conservative persona. Don't they?
The character's name is Reagan.
Yeah.
Oh, stop that.
Frank Reagan.
You know what?
It's a cop family show. His son Donnie Wahlberg plays his son. He's a cop. It's it's about the family. It's like The Godfather, except instead of mobsters, they're cops.
What show looks horrible is The Mob Doctor.
Oh my
that
gosh,
show looks dreadful.
Terrible. That looks awful.
I mean, how many episodes will it be? I can't kill him. It's against my morals.
Horrendous.
It's going to be like every episode will be that crap. And her name is Grace. There should be a moratorium against shows where women who are put in very difficult situations and must act honorably in them are named Grace.
I know. Not good.
Not good.
And then lastly here, before we get to a couple of movies to wrap out the show with, we've got the fourth season of Castle.
Which just limps along.
Which is still on, man. It comes back. ABC on Mondays. It just keeps plugging and friggin' plugging along. And
Season 4.
I just
How'd that happen?
I don't know. When this show came on, I thought that is going to tank so hard that just doesn't even look remotely funny or even clever or engaging in any kind of a cute, clever way.
Just go watch.
And somehow it just keeps plugging along. So I don't really get it. It's
Moonlighting.
Loaded. I know exactly, right? It's like a knockoff Moonlighting, but somehow it's got all kinds of extras on it. It's got featurettes galore, and it's a cheap deal Moonlighting knockoff. It really is. It's like Remington Steele. It's all of those. Somehow it keeps going.
I didn't like Remington Steele.
Well, that was Glenn Gordon Caron's tryout for Moonlighting. Yeah.
I thought the idea was cool.
Whatever.
Almost like a Cyrano de Bergerac-y kind of a thing.
Yes, I suppose. And then, just so that I can rip on him a little bit, Cabin in the Woods was Joss Whedon's big, stupid, dumb, lame, genre mashup, idiotic vanity piece earlier in the year before he finally redeemed himself with the Avengers. I gotta say, by the way, did you hear what he just sold at Toronto? He basically took a camera and invited a bunch of his friends over and filmed some kind of a bargain basement version of Much Ado About Nothing in his house. And then they sold that at Toronto as a movie.
He did that a long time ago. He did that. I bet he did that almost 2 years ago.
Good grief!
He just did that.
And then in the wake of the Avengers, he could say, "Look, this is a video of my flowers in the garden," and that'll sell at Toronto because he did the Avengers. They can actually say, "Look, garden footage from the director of the Avengers."
Yeah, but that's not opening in 4,000 theaters.
I know, but still. Silly. Anyway, Cabin in the Woods just did not work for me. I get it. It's like a fanboy thing where, it winks and nudges and references. It looks like it's at first going to be some kind of a, kids go out in the middle of nowhere and get killed by a slasher movie. But then it's got this gigantic, epic, science fiction fantasy backstory to it, that there's this government thing going on apparently, and people are watching them and they're being manipulated, and then somehow this entails the entire history of monsters on Earth and every kind of mythic lore imaginable, and it just blows up to a ridiculous degree. It's a silly movie. It's a silly, silly movie, and I know it's a fanboy's wet dream, but I just thought it was awful. It is. It's out on Blu-ray and digital copy and ultraviolet, all rammed together on the same Blu-ray. And you know what? Look, you get a commentary with Drew Goddard, who co-wrote it with Joss Whedon, and Drew Goddard, who directed it. By the way, I should point out, it's not directed by Joss Whedon. It's his script. You know, it's Drew Goddard who wrote Cloverfield. It's his directing effort. But it's Whedon's baby. Just screams Whedon throughout, from top to bottom. And a bunch of featurettes, and, you know, that's it.
Wade, is it better than Beverly Hills Chihuahua 3, Viva La Fiesta?
Oh, gosh.
You know what's awesome about Beverly Hills Chihuahua 3? Is that it has all sorts of cute doggies, and the doggies play instruments, and the doggies and the doggy bands have funny names like Black Labeth and Oreo Tailwagon.
Oh, gosh.
And the Black-Eyed Fleas.
Heaven help
and
us.
Lady Gaga on the Tramp.
Oh, my gosh.
Awesome.
Are you serious?
The doggies, they're so cute. Okay, the movie sucks.
Why is there a third one of these?
Well, because they're cheap, and George Lopez will talk it up on a talk show somewhere, and doggies are cute. Anyway, there's two discs. One is the Blu-ray, one's the DVD. I mean,
Beautiful.
Must I tell you if this is good?
No.
Come on.
And then a really unfortunate movie that is yet another vanity project of sorts. This is directed by a guy named Dean Wright, who's a special effects guy who really should not be directing. He should be doing special effects. For Greater Glory is the true story of Cristiada. This is Andy Garcia and Eva Longoria and a bunch of other actors just way the heck overacting to an unbelievably embarrassing melodramatic degree in a movie that is based on a true event, which is in the 1920s, the Mexican government fell under the control of a president who basically started imposing all kinds of outrageous laws about what the Catholic clergy could and could not do. It was persecution of the Catholic Church. And it eventually turned into almost a civil war as you have these rebel groups emerge and coalesce to, in this case, led by Andy Garcia, who's a former general. And they're trying to get their freedom back, freedom for the Catholic Church. And Eva Longoria plays Andy Garcia's wife and is really, really overacting. And Peter O'Toole is in this for about 5 seconds as a priest who gets shot to death in an execution in the first 5 minutes of the movie. And then he's gone. And he's now retired from movies, and this will be the last role he will ever be known for. This is a silly movie. It means to be kind of epic and inspirational and old school, but it really is. It's very silly, and I did not enjoy it in the least. This is a Blu-ray DVD combo, and there it is. And let's see.
Go, Wade, go.
We got time for...
I have to go to my boxing aerobics class in a few minutes.
Bobby,
I swear to God. My second one, boxing aerobics class.
Very nice. You know what? Here we go. I talked about this on the radio the other day, and why not? The Victim. This is Michael Biehn's directing debut. Michael Biehn, of course, from The Terminator, and he made this for about $500,000 with his wife, and it is the cheapest, low-budget, kind of action thriller, semi-horror thing I've ever seen. Basically, a couple of bad cops are out showing a couple of girls a good time somewhere in the Topanga Canyon area, and one of them accidentally gets shot, and then the other one runs away, and they chase her down, and she runs across some guy, played by Michael Biehn, who's it's his wife, basically, in real life. She runs away and finds the loner living in the woods, and when the bad cops show up, suddenly it's mono against Menno.
It's mono against mono?
Mono against Menno. And, it's just cheesy. It feels like a real grindhouse film, and I'm not sure whether or not it was supposed to be like that. So if you go looking for a film that feels like some kind of a 60s exploitation, low-budget thing that was shot in Topanga, except that it was shot in 2011 in Topanga, then you're in for a treat. If you're expecting a movie that feels like a real movie, boy, are you going to be disappointed. And Michael Biehn actually inserts a sex scene with his wife. Isn't that lovely? He and his wife have a sex scene in the movie together. There's something very, very exhibitionistic about that.
Lovely is like over here, and then what you just said is way over here.
All right, that's it. We are done. Mark's going to go to his aerobics and chocolate class.
No, boxing. It's boxing aerobics.
Is this a dating thing now?
No. Well, sort of. Real quick, I'll tell this in 30 seconds.
Okay.
My mother rips into me the other week because she says I'm not married. So she says, you should take boxing classes because, boxing will get your confidence up. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to take boxing. But then I wind up talking to another friend of mine who does love boxing, and she says, if you take a boxing class, I'll go with you. I'll go with you. So I'm like, all right, you know what? If someone's going to go with me, it'll make it more fun. So last week I took a boxing aerobics class.
Yeah.
You probably burn half your body weight in 35 minutes.
Yes.
Because it is so intense.
Look, I used to take Kenpo karate, and those group sessions were the most insane workout that I ever had in my life.
I don't know that I can do it every week because it really is a lot of work.
Yeah.
But you will burn, man. You will want to keel over and die by the time it's over.
Fist bump, bro.
For boxing.
Yeah.